the champions who call themselves the Circus, and the Londoners who pride themselves on entertainment. Stick some champagne on ice and settle on in. No squad can match our hosts' depth, and Sean Lynn has filled his boots accordingly, rotating heavily over the last few weeks. This, though, a formation which oozes threat. Niamh Jones and Sarah Beckett bring the belligerence before a relentless back row. Co-captain Zoe Aldcroft and Mo Hunt dictate, respectively, the punch and pace of proceedings, whilst Emma Singh's reinstatement at full-back sees Mia Venner back in her jersey of choice. Although her hat-trick up in Salford does suggest she's not bad wearing 15. Just one change to the side who are left gasping for both possession and accuracy this time last week. With a semi-final secured, Ross Chisholm has wrapped Captain Conkle up in cotton wool, but in two-time Premiership Player of the Year, Harriet Miller-Mills, he's a formidable deputy. Connie Powell will relish packing down against her former club, and Donnell Lochner, well, she relishes packing down against anyone. The powerhouse Springbok is cracking knuckles in the tunnel as we speak. The backline unchanged and shimmering. Pena and Kildunn have been borderline unplayable in 2025. Well, time's running out for the letters K-I-N and G over the entrance of Kingsholm. Cherry and white channels announced with no small fanfare this week that this place will be renamed Queen's Home once more next Sunday in honour of its resident champions who will host Bristol Bears in the semi-finals. By the time that kicks off, Quins' fate will be decided. They will have faced Saracens in the other playoff bout, so they will either have reached the end of the road or secured their spot in their first final since 2021, when they were crowned the Queens of English Rugby right here in Gloucester. Depending on your outlook, they've either lost 2 of their last 3 or won 13, or 11 rather, of their last 13. Regardless, they need momentum tonight after recent losses to Sarries and Bears, and they've got 80 minutes to rediscover some snarl before the rugby turns knockout. They've not lost on the road this season. They are happy travellers. But here come the champions. This lot are table toppers, confirmed. Top spot was sewn up in Salford last weekend, so tonight is about 2 things, Sean Lynn reckons: execution and enjoyment. He wants smiles on faces, and none will be wider than that of Mo Hunt. And for this group to savour the occasion before they snap the visor down and go stalking that three-peat. In the scheme of the league, they're after a 9th consecutive victory. In this head-to-head, they could make it 6 straight wins over Harlequins. They've not lost this matchup since January 2022, when the PWR trophy in situ tonight still lived in West London.
Okay. 30 seconds, girls.
For the 8th time this season, it is Nikki O'Donnell who will take charge, with Andy Wigley and Ryan Collier her assistants, and Rowan Kitt our TMO. It's just started drizzling here in the West Country, which adds an extra twist of unpredictability to proceedings. What a lot we have crammed into 18 rounds, and what a lot the next 80 minutes could hold too. 2 of the best in all the land beneath the lights at Kingsholm, and Hlakey George getting us underway. Well, we mentioned the slippery ball. It's proven exactly that for Sarah Bonner. Knock-on advantage for the hosts, which will expire pretty shortly because they've got a good motor on here, especially there through the carry of Welshwoman Kate Williams. A swerve and a fix from Hunt onto George. This now a carry from young Millie Hyatt. Just going through the gears here, Gloucester-Hartpury, and Mia Venner wearing 14 tonight, who sparkled at full-back up in Sale. She has her first carry of this one. Round 18. Hopefully a fitting finale to what has been the best PWR season we have ever seen. Hunt to George, who trickles it through onto Packer, who returns the knock-on, and it's time to say hello to the person alongside me for this game. Simultaneous kickoffs up and down the league. The only side not in action are Bristol Bears, but we've only gone and nabbed their head coach. Good evening, Dave Ward.
Good evening, Claire, and good evening, everyone. Fantastic start for Gloucester, first and foremost. Sort of a spiral kick-off from Clakey, and then go into 6 phases, another kick through, and again, another knock-on from Lucy Packer to give, you know, Gloucester-Hartpury a scrum in a fantastic position.
No Mackenzie Carson, no Maud Muir, no Cecilia Tuipulotu. It's an unfamiliar, untested front row, this.
Let's go, reset.
It's Rani Salmuda, Neve Jones, Catherine Buggy for the hosts. Sylvia Tarani, Connie Powell, Lizzie Hanlon for the visitors.
Yeah, I think this is an area where Quins will certainly be looking at. Obviously, there's a little bit of an inexperience in there. And I think Hanlon, Powell and Tarani, they'll be looking to get after Gloucester pretty early in this scenario.
Set. Stay square, stay high.
Cherry and white meeting white jerseys. And catching that over the shoulder was George. Not catching that over her shoulder was Singh. But luckily, despite the best efforts of Lisa Neumann, it's hoovered up by Venner. Somehow making something out of nothing there. Zoe Allcroft, who caught that absolutely flat-footed, but still managed to retain it. And now they go coast to coast. We saw Saracens do this to devastating effect at the Stoop just a couple of rounds ago. Quins really struggled to contain them when they fizzed it wide like that. Nothing wide about Salmuda's latest carry, straight up the guts.
Offie, thank you.
And Abby Fleming told her no uncertain terms to leave that one alone.
Yeah, Gloucester have definitely started the better of the two teams.
Okay, girls, we've got a medical call, HIA for 5.
We're just going to wait here.
Scrum, you're in possession. Yeah, they've called for an HIA.
Yeah, just for the referee there. HIA, obviously player safety is paramount in this at the moment, so just going to have a quick check on Zoe Allcroft, I think it is. But you see with the new laws, and you see Mo Hunt, the way she exploits it, there's that extra bit of space she's got in behind. She becomes then that first real threat at scrum time. Pass didn't quite go to hand, but that kind of is going to tell the story of the game throughout and how Gloucester will use that scrum as an attacking weapon. Quins, again, a good defensive set. Well, fell off for 1 tackle, but quickly recuperated. And I just saw Lucy Packer gingerly getting up in backfield, so hopefully she's okay, and obviously she's good to continue on.
Fine. Set.
So we've traded one of Scarborough RFC's finest for another. Aldcroft off, else on. What a shove from Harlequins. And for the first time, we see Londoners' hands on the ball, and we see Claudia Pena do what she is doing with incredible regularity at the moment. Tipped on to Kildun. Met well by Hannah Jones, and this another Welsh woman in Fleming. But Claudia Pena, what a revelatory signing the 20-year-old from Barcelona is proving. Packer goes the other way, delaying that pass on to Kildun, who straightens and then heads for the soft shoulder she thinks she might have spied in that wide channel. Grant's pass back onto Tuima, and now this is Lochner. What a punishing shift the Springbok put in at the Stoop last Friday night. Delayed by Kaylee Powell, who manages to get the offload away and onto Pena. She's Salmuda to hurdle, and there is the knock-on. But threatening day from Harlequins.
Yeah, absolutely. It all came from that scrum. I know we talked about it straight away, but you saw the first scrum was a bit of a 50-50, second scrum. Gloucester ball, Quins get after it, they get the ball, and then you watch Kaylee Powell, the way she holds onto the ball for that second, 2 seconds, making that defender make a decision. They make the wrong decision. Tarani's there for the offload, and again, Quins are back on the front foot. They'll be disappointed not to get a bit more of that. There was some really good attacking play from Quins.
Well, we've seen in a nutshell the difference between the two fly halves already here. Clakey George, the football convert, so perhaps unsurprisingly, her first instinct is to kick. Kaylee Powell, full back under you at Bristol Bears, GB7's international. She looks to carry. And there's a fascinating little duel here before the eyes of incumbent Welsh coach Sean Lynn for that feathered 10 jersey.
Yeah, just as the old classic, as you say, that Clakey drops on cold, but it's two completely different styles of play. Look, exciting for Wales, for those guys to maybe potentially play together, but obviously in this battle, you want to see that kicking element. Obviously, the weather might come into it as well with that, maybe already has with that knock-on, but also Quins will want to hold on to the ball. if Gloucester have got the ball, they're a very, very dangerous team. Everyone knows that. But Quins hold on to it, and they get their direction from Kaylee. They're a threat. And obviously you see now they're stacking 2 behind the scrum with Kaylee and Ellie Kildunn. That's going to be a tough defensive read for any team.
Quins back at the ground in which they were crowned champions 4 long years ago, getting it onto their danger players. This one, Beth Wilcock, so tenacious and strong in the carry. She wore 11 that day when they were crowned champions of the Premier 15s. She's on the other wing this time around, but just as destructive as Connie Powell has a tilt up against her former club. Miller-Mills, and then Lochner. Now we're seeing the destructive capabilities of the league's quickest ruck ball, Packer, again and again with such impetus. And now Powell heads back in against the grain. It takes Hunt to haul her down. Heavies lining up for that one, but off the shin of Tarani. Via a fingertip, though. We'll have, what, our 7th scrum in as many minutes?
Yeah, I know. For the purists, they're loving it out there, definitely.
You're loving it,
well,
Dave.
Of course. I get to see more scrums. But I think you just see that passion to play there. That won't mind Gloucester too much. They'll be all right. They're happy defending their own line, 5 metres out, that they pride themselves on that ability to keep teams out. What I will say, and you'll see Kaylee Powell, she's just lurking behind that ruck. She's waiting for that opportunity. There's a little 9, 12, 10 play, which didn't quite come off. But actually one more player, and they would have been a bit more successful. So you might see that again later on.
Crouch. Let's reset quickly then. Hookers, I need you to make sure everyone's got space.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a really testing scrum for Gloucester. Obviously, they're talking about head-on-head, which means they're probably a bit too close. You've got to get close on this 4G surface, though, otherwise you lose your feet from underneath you. So both teams will be looking to put that weight across on the bind, really get that edge, and then obviously win the engagement on the set.
And as mentioned, this is Quins' go-to front row, but it's completely uncharted territory for the circus. What we have seen before is Alex Matthews plucking and rising, but that's a collector's item. You don't see her going backwards very often. 2/3 of her carries go over the gain line, Matthews. Not that one.
Yeah, I think Lucy Packer saw that coming yesterday, to be honest. So she'd have seen that a few times in England training as well.
George rakes that, but infield it lands in the breadbasket of the best player on the planet, who will have to give it immediately back, and if she's not careful, she'll be walking backwards another 10.
Yeah, it's tough, but you've got to allow access. Again, one of these laws we're looking at, and complete access to the ball. Lizzie Hanlon tried to get a bit cute, and unfortunately for her, there's a penalty against, and then Gloucester, chew off another 40 metres of territory without actually doing too much.
Yeah, stay in line for me.
Kildunn against Singh, Packer against Hunt, Powell up against George. How much do these, with the Six Nations on the horizon, how much do you see those selection battles on the minds of your players?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I always say to our girls, like, you play well for the team and the individual shines, and we've seen that in recent weeks for Bristol, but again, you'll see it. They play for the team at Gloucester, and individually they've shone all season, and Emma Sims, a prime example of that. She's had a great season, and yet she probably won't be first choice going into the Six Nations for England.
Three, out. Don't change 6, stay there.
Before the shed, as the rain grows heavier, red jerseys marching onwards, and their ringmaster Hunt shaping for the pass there, barking orders, but instead over she goes up to Powell, beats one, and then the tackle from Rachel Lund does a fine job of dislodging the ball.
Yeah, so unlucky there from Kaylee, because she's seen the space, she knows where it is, they've just got in her eye line, so she's held onto the ball, and then obviously she couldn't get the ball away, but the space was there in counter-attack, and it was a decent little probing kick from Mo in behind. If Kaylee gets that ball away, I think there might be a different outcome.
Crouch. Bind.
George to the open side here, there's Singh. out down the short side with Lund for company, but a veritable galaxy of stars in both backfields, and it's to the short they go. Singh has it crossing over with Lund, and that won't sit well with Nikki O'Donnell. Tit for tat. Quins connects it.
Yeah, much better scrum from Gloucester, much better scrum. They've obviously gone down the short side, but just got their timing, got their wires crossed a little bit, and yeah, easy decision for Nikki O'Donnell. And again, Quins now get their chance to move up towards halfway. Whichever team, it's a classic in rugby, can take advantage of this middle third is going to be the first team to get on the score sheet. And I think it's a really nice little battle out there, certainly between the 9s and the 10s, just trying to work out when the opportunity to kick and obviously when the opportunity to counter-attack.
We know what's on paper at stake here for Harlequins. If they get the job done here tonight and Saracens conspire to lose at home against Sale Sharks, they will have home advantage next Saturday. But beyond that, because that is an unlikely outcome, what is Ross Chisholm looking to gain from the next 80 minutes?
Yeah, I think Ross, I mean, it's no secret. He wants some continuity. He wants some momentum. You know, obviously they lost to Bristol last week. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm probably here. So I think from that, he wants that momentum. Interesting decision here quickly from Gloucester. They've actually opted for the line out rather than the scrum. So it just shows where their mindset is scrum-wise. And I also, just interestingly, the law in the line out now is if you don't compete, it doesn't necessarily have to go straight. And I think Quins will feel a bit hard done by there. But yeah, I think Chiz will be looking for that real continuity. He wants that momentum, and he wants to go and take a big away scalp, because unless Sale produce another heroic win away from home, it will be Saracens away in the semi-final.
Well, you would know all about historic wins on the road in semi-finals. No doubt we will turn our attention to that one a little bit later on. But Samudar, the Jamaican international, on her first start since October, has a go, and that a lovely no-look offload. Lock finding number 8, Beckett to Matthews. 2 red roses in tandem there, and it's got Quins backpedaling as Hyatt carries hard and draws the advantage.
Yeah, really, really nice subtlety there from Sarah Beckett. It's another area of her game she's worked extremely hard on. She's not just a big ball carrier. She can add that, bringing other people into the game, because she knows she's going to draw in 2 defenders. And you see there, the no-look as well means the defenders really focus on Beckett. She pushes the ball through, and then the tackler, unfortunately, I think it's Maddie Grant in this case, just gets wrong side of the ball, and it's an easy one. And again, Gloucester showing their statement of intent. I think they're going to head to the corner.
She's trying to fight to take it off her forwards, which is difficult. Okay.
Sarah Beckett, who's won titles with both of these clubs, involved for Harlequins back in 2021, and then making the switch in 22 to these pastures, along with so many big name signings that summer. Of course, Alex Matthews, Maud Muir, Sam Monaghan, top draw athletes. And speaking of which, one of them is back with us, because Zoe Aldcroft has got 90 seconds left as a bystander before, having passed her HIA, she rejoins us.
Yeah, I remember watching that final where you were talking about Sarah Beckett here for Harlequins, in fact, against Saracens, and Beckett had an unbelievable game that day. She's a big game player. She played pretty well against us as well in the final last season, so it's certainly someone, you know, we'll be focusing on. It's quite an easy one for us to look at, because we know how important she is to this Gloucester team.
Consummate enforcer, and as you mentioned, a big game player. What an outing last week. 12 of her 15 carries were over the gain line. She got player of the match. And what I love about Sarah Beckett is that she's such a sweetheart off the pitch. She wouldn't splat a mosquito, but she splats rugby players like there's no tomorrow on it.
Yeah, there's definitely 2 sides to Sarah Beckett. I've seen a few of those characters in rugby, and she's one of them. And I think, like you say, butter wouldn't melt in her mouth off the pitch, and all of a sudden she turns into a different player. And it's kind of what you want as well. I think she's very much a team-first person as well, which, again, every single team needs these sort of players. And she's putting the girls forward all the time. And like I said, she's having a great impact since she's been at Gloucester, and she's been a big part of why they've been successful.
A massive part of the culture piece here at Gloucester. They were doing all the usual things this week. They didn't want to build the end of season into anything other than what it was, another 80 minutes of rugby. So they had their trademark show and tell ahead of their Tuesday team meeting. They've had Cecilia Tuipulotu doing Tongan dancing. They've had Carmen Castellucci teaching them Spanish dancing. Meg Davies brought in her dog, who apparently can do all sorts of tricks. And Maud Muir recently has been doing a human bucking bronco challenge with the girls' kit bags. What's Bear's equivalent?
Yeah, good question. I don't know if we have got an equivalent. I mean, the girls have been playing paddle. They went to the wave for a little bit of R&R, and that's about as much as they'll get from me because, yeah, our focus had to be in the last couple of weeks. We couldn't afford those luxuries, unfortunately, about bucking Broncos, and I'm not sure I would have wanted to be a part of that anyway. But, yeah, I think from my perspective, like, we've been very much focus mode. Look, we want to enjoy each other's company as well, but we had a job to do last weekend and obviously the weekend before. And, yes, we can have a little sit-up this weekend. And, you know, yesterday's training, I was like, just please don't go and enjoy yourselves too much this weekend to the girls because they know what's coming next Sunday, and I'll be back here, and again, it's going to be a massive test for us.
But equally, it has been a relentless season. You've had 7 straight games, is that right, over the last few weeks? It's Ross Chisholm calls it a marathon and a sprint. It's been something that coaches have discussed no end, and as Maddie Grant leaves the field, you're questioning the efforts being requested of these athletes.
Yeah, it's huge, and again, probably why Gloucester are sitting top of the pile. They've got the biggest squad, they've got the biggest pathway, they can rely on that throughout the season. They've probably rotated more than other squads have because they can afford to do it. So it's one of those things, we've had to manage it. We're in a great position. Our medical team at Bears have been fantastic to get us almost to a 23. We absolutely love to run out next Sunday. So I think the medics this season have been doing an amazing job throughout the league. As we know, it's a one-off season, and we all knew going in, I suppose.
Off goes Grant, on comes Maya Mueller, and she's right there on the shoulder of Tirani and carrying immediately. The Swedish skipper, 7s and 15s, back into the pocket. Connie Powell somehow threading the needle between the thermal embraced arms of Mo Hunt, and that is an outstanding effort.
Yeah, what a kick from Kaylee. And then Mo left one on her as well, just a reminder that she's still around, which is all classic 7s and scrum halves will do. Great impact from Muller as well there. She's a good at hooker and 7, we've seen for both Loughborough and now at Quins. So I think, like I said, she'll have a good impact on the game. And a bit of a shame for Maddie Grant. We all saw that interception made at Exeter away as well.
Jones on to Matthews, and now Gloucester-Hartpury get into their shape. They play their patterns until it opens up, and then the word they use, the word they reference is instinct. Well, they won't be able to play on that right now because they're straight back onto defensive detail, and Powell is being upended by Mia Venner. She's got a willowy frame, Venner, but she really packs a punch, and by all accounts shifts serious tin in the gym. Packer. Extension announced just yesterday. She will play an 8th season in quarters next year. On the other side of the small matter of a home World Cup. Lund going nowhere quickly. Tackle made. Matthews carrying Harlequins with her. To the short side again. An outstanding line speed there from Wilcock, just stopping the little overlap from proving devastating.
Yeah, just a nice little clear from Samuda, and then she backs it up with a secondary carry. When you tip the ball in rugby, you often lose that inside or that outside clear, so really nice. And here we go, Sarah Beck on the charge again. We've already talked about her in this game.
10 metres gobbled up just like that, and then the penalty right before the stick. Surely you call for the tee at this stage? I
don't think Gloucester will. I'd be surprised, certainly. I mean, I don't think they're going to call scrum, but I think Clakey might put it through to the corner and then have another go at their line-out. They just missed down on the right-hand side. So, yeah, it's been all Gloucester now, and they'll definitely start to look to turn this pressure into points. They are a team that does that pretty successfully, and this will be another opportunity for them to do that.
She was 1 from 5 off the tee last week, Clakey George, so a performance there to forget, but that absolutely pinpoint. There are 6 metres between Neve Jones. Make that 5. That's a sweet nudge.
Yeah, expect something in and around the front here with like, the actual range coming down a bit, probably a bit more than you can see on the TV at the moment, but...
Yeah. No, it looks pretty bad.
OK, yeah, we've got one over the top. Good reactions from Mo.
Hunt going, sniping, driving, reaching, and maybe just about held up. Outstanding work there from Claudia Pena and Beth Wilcock to hold up the Circus's skipper. There was the trick play.
Yeah, I don't know if it I don't know if it was supposed to go over the top or not, but again, like, this is what world-class players do. Mo's quickest to react. What I will say, fantastic from Pena and Wilcox to hold her up, and then again Quins get their chance to clear their lines.
Wanted to talk about Claudia Pena, but we're going to talk about Mia Venner instead, because Powell, off the back of that brilliant clearance kick, has missed touch on that occasion, and Hunt has to readjust her line so as not to take out our referee. Now Niamh Jones has it. George picking out Hyatt. Those two so often switching in the midfield, but it's very much George who calls the shots. This time she carries.
Yeah, Quins really wide on the outside at the moment, outside Clakey, forcing her to turn back in. And again, they force a knock on here, which it's really good D from Quins. They're not getting in front of the ball. They're going quite high in Clakey's eye line, but just making sure that if she does get that opportunity, there are a couple of players to pick her up. And again, it forces that error onto Gloucester.
Speaking to Ross Chisholm in the week, as disappointed as he was with the result against your Bears last Friday, Dave, he was thrilled with the fact they put in 238 tackles. As he was quick to point out, they missed some of the soft ones, some of the important ones, but he said you cannot fault the passion of this group's defence. Does that resonate?
Yeah, massively, and I think they were relentless with that defence. I mean, our girls came off like we threw the kitchen sink at Quins, and we only scored 3 tries, and a couple of those were, I suppose, what you'd class as almost trick plays. So I think the Quins' defensive effort has been huge this season. They've done a lot of work away from the rugby pitch as well as on it, obviously, and that's paying off. They've also just playing and defending together, which is again a good sign of any team, and we're seeing it. They're keeping a very good Gloucester-Hartpury side out, and we're going into the 20th minute mark, and the game's still 0-0.
Let's quickly reset then, girls. Come on. Let's reset, girls.
Let's go, boss. Let's go, Let's go, Buggy.
And speaking of that defensive effort, you can see Jade Conkle there speaking, the Scottish skipper, also the Harlequins captain. 31 tackles this time last week, and with a big knockout fixture against Saracens to come, it's no surprise that they've put her on ice.
Yeah, I think 31 tackles in one game is a pretty incredible effort, and I think she probably deserves the rest, to be honest.
Pena opting to send that through the red and white defensive wall before her, but instead picks out Tuima.
Kicked into the player in front, and then a knock on. Red scrum.
Yeah, again, I'd probably need to see that again. I thought actually Mo charged that down, but it looks like Quins have actually kicked it into themselves here. Accidental offside again. I think we're into scrum 11 now, so we're there or thereabouts. I mean, for the scrum connoisseurs, you're getting your money's worth. What I will say is Gloucester now, the pressure will start to be built on them a little bit. They need to start taking these opportunities, because if they don't, Quins have got the capability to go at the end and scoring pretty quickly, as we saw last week. So I think, like I said, they're all right for the time being. They get to 20-25 minutes, all of a sudden Gloucester will start to feel that pressure.
They're also the side in the league that managed the most visits to opposition 22 by some margin. Their efficiency is right down towards the bottom of the log. So if they want to work on one thing this week, it is accuracy. Let's see if they can prove clinical now. Hunt inching forwards in order to pick that one up. Herzl over the top, reaching again. Surely not denied a second time. No! Hunt is over. And at long last, the champions have their opener.
Yeah, well, again, we just talk about that. Gloucester, the pressure's on, 20 minutes, spent a lot of time in the Quins half, and all of a sudden, guess who? Mo Hunt, often the first try scorer in a game. Because there's so many threats elsewhere, you tend to negate the 9, tap and go from the free kick, gives it to Alex Matthews on the front foot, and all of a sudden she's in at the corner. She's also a really good finisher, Mo. I think probably don't give her as much credit as she deserves, because she doesn't wear 11 or 14 on her back. But you just see the credit, the ball here, just to get the end of the ball down. Really good finish, and again, like you say, probably just desserts for Gloucester. They've been in the opposition half now. They've had a couple of lineouts that have gone awry. They've scored a try.
Emma Singh's first effort from the tee of the evening is a beauty. Up go the flags, and she's on a home straight burn-up for top point scorer for the season with Zoe Harrison. Well, that has just edged her a whisker further ahead. But let's get some reaction from the Harlequins coaching box, because Ross Chisholm has the pleasure of a chat now with Ashley Wilmot.
Thanks, Claire. I mean, that was a huge defensive effort, but you couldn't deny them that second try. What have you made of the opening quarter or so?
Yeah, it's obviously pretty tough out there. You look at the weather conditions, like there's been a few handling errors and skill errors. So I think that unfortunately there's going to be quite a few turnovers in this game, but it's about the team that capitalises on those the most. I think, look, defensively there, we probably didn't exit well enough off that scrum, and it just put us under a little bit of pressure. But all in all, I think, look, it's a even game at the moment.
I'm not sure how obvious it is to those watching along, but the heavens are very much open, and that really does impact the game. But how much are you looking at how your team reacts to scores like that?
Yeah, always. Look, we can't really do anything about what's happened. What we can affect is what's coming next. So, yeah, it's just about like refocusing our minds and then just sort of going back to basics and making sure that we're clear on what we're going to do next. And
I know we've got the semi-finals and hopefully the finals to come, but if these teams play as they hope to in the in the semi-finals, then this could potentially be a rehearsal for the finals. So how do you play without giving all your tricks away?
Oh, look, we just take each game as it comes. You know, you have a game plan for this game, and it's just about playing each game as it comes. If you worry too much about 2-3 weeks' time, then you come unstuck.
Good to speak to you.
Thanks, Ashley.
She doesn't make many errors, Ellie Kildare, but that spiral out on the full, returning, well, attempting to return with interest, that of Flaky George.
Yeah, again, Quins had dominance at scrum. I think we're out to 9th scrum of the game, and all of a sudden, Clakey pushes it through. They get away with it a little bit, but then that's the danger you take with that spiral kick. If you get it correct, I mean, I remember she kicked one here last season, which was, I think, 65 metres, 50-22. Unfortunately, today she's kicked it out on the full, and it gives Gloucester another attacking opportunity on the 22.
Red Roses skipper Zoe Aldcroft battered and bruised there, attempting to bring that line-out ball to deck. She eventually does so, but it looks ponderous. And they decide to take route 101 through Alex Matthews. Catherine Buggy, the tight head with a carry and a flailing arm, but doing really well there to just dent the defensive line before her. Hunt squirming and then unleashing Aldcroft. Look at the speed of this, the reloading, the incision from the scrum half. Options every which way, and she decides to pick out Bethan Lewis, the league's top tackler last year, but on carry detail on this occasion. Catherine Buggy hauled down by a trio of Harlequins. It's open here if they want it, if Aldcroft can just straighten and go and muscle her way over the Queen's home whitewash. What a score. Yeah, what a finish for Alex Matthews.
Fantastic from Gloucester, really, really good. Holding on to the ball, going around the corner. Great carry from Bethan Lewis, offering herself up again. Got not even to the 15, came back towards the post. They had an overlap out wide, didn't need to use it. Drive from under the sticks and makes Emma Singh's conversion even easier.
It's her leadership, it's her line-out nous, but it's also just her power. Did such a fine job wearing number 8 last week at Salford. The same jersey she wore in the final last year, and she really does carry like a Trojan.
Yeah, she's just a fantastic athlete, isn't she? We've seen the line breaks, we see all the big bits, but actually it's the unseen work, the inverted commas, the scrum, the maul, all those little bits where she's just relentless. Or at the breakdown in those set piece areas, she's given Gloucester that front foot ball, and again, they're a very hard team to stop. You know, I'm watching it now with my coach's hat on a little bit, thinking, okay, what's going to be our plan in 9 days' time?
Well, go on.
Yeah, I'll leave that for the Bears girls on training next week.
I don't know if I'm going to allow that, but we do need to pay attention to what's going on the pitch for the time being. So 2 scores, both converted by Emma Singh. Mo Hunt, Zoe Aldcroft, the 2 co-captains, opening up a healthy 14-point margin for Gloucester-Hartpury. Quins need to change something. They need to do something and get the ball in the hands of their danger women. In fact, they just need to get some ball at this stage.
Yeah, I think that's the key, Claire. Like, we saw Quins have 6-8 phases sort of early on in the game, and they look really dangerous. They haven't had that. They've kicked off, they've knocked it on, they've played into Gloucester's hands. Even this part of the game for Quins now, they're not really going anywhere. However, just building that continuity, that's all Ross Chisholm will want to see. Hopefully, you know, forcing Gloucester to give her a penalty away, or making a breakthrough, Kaylee or one of the outside backs. So this is a really good, nice passage of play for Quins, just to get back into the game, and again, just hold on to the ball for a little bit.
Powell with a little step in the dance and manages to suck in a pair of red jerseys. A bullet pass there from Tuima onto Fleming. In these conditions, that was unforgiving, but she holds on to it, the look forward.
Yeah, Lucy Packer just trying to buy a penalty there. Nikki O'Donnell wise to it. All scrum halves, you've got that right.
Thumping tackle, Hyatt on Kildun. No respect being shown to the World Player of the Year.
Yeah, again, it's really difficult with Quins. They've got no width. And as soon as you've got no width, Gloucester can throw a blanket over you, and that's exactly what they're doing. You see the widest player, Beth Wilcox, as well within the 15s. They're going one-up carries. Unless someone can do something special, it's going to be really hard for Quins to actually make the defence make it a hard decision, because at the moment, with no width, it's really easy. You watch Gloucester, they're just walking backwards, getting off the line, going to hit again. And as I said that, Zoe gives a penalty away.
We'll take it again.
Little over-eager there, Connie Powell, but potentially for the best, because that was a breathless set from Ross Chisholm's side. You can now take a moment, reassemble. This finds touch. They've got a nice slow walk up the King's Home 4G. And they can figure out which of their game breakers to deploy here.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's only 14-0, and people get a bit carried away sometimes. You know, Quins get the next score, and they're very much in this game. And like, Gloucester are a good side, we all know that, but Quins have been one of the form teams all season. They need to keep building, to hold on to the ball, like I said, and then if Gloucester offer that space up, either take it with the boot, like they did with Pena last week, or you know, run it through the hands again with a bit more width probably than they have been.
Langi Tuima, captain in the absence of Concourse. She's been barking orders from the midfield there. But there's nothing doing if they're going to fluff their lines at the line-out. And in fact, it's a set piece that has creased disastrously for them in their last 2 defeats. 60% against Saracens, down below 50 against your side last weekend. They need to tighten nuts and bolts there if they're to have any sort of platform. Yeah,
it's a tough one. You know, as a caller sometimes, you know, you take the responsibility on yourself. Bonner's done that. There's actually a decent call. She got up in front of Zoe, just the ball probably went a little bit high from Connie, which is unfortunate. Neve reacts, and Millie Hyatt will be disappointed with that, because again, she was probably looking to kick the ball down the pitch, move the game back towards Quins, and then pile the pressure on them. So Quins get a bit of a reprieve. They've stacked in exactly the same formation as they did the previous time with Kaylee and Ellie. Let's see if they go right again.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Packer and Hunt alongside one another, those 2 Red Rose scrum halves, in a battle that will rumble on and on this season, you feel. Kildun.
No, go back 14.
Normally feather-light with her footwork, but on that occasion just carrying hard, granite shoulders and pure determination to see Harlequins on the cusp of what would be just their 2nd visit, ball in hand. Desperate for just something to flex, something to work with. They've got the game breakers. Packer picks out Tarani, one of the physicality leads in Steve Halsey's pack. Packer going again. You feel like she's really taking a lot of responsibility here to get Quins motoring. Powell does the rest. 10 metres now. Bonner picks and goes, meeting Samuda, and there might just be a steal.
Girls will stop. It will be their scrum. No.
Yeah, you just, again, we talked about it already, the impact that Lucy Packer and Mo Hunt are having on this game. Even there, Lucy Packer just drawing in that close defender, makes them step in, pushes the offload through, and really nice work from Connie Powell. Get on the front foot, build that momentum. Obviously, we hope Catherine Bug is okay, but it gives Quins a scrum in a really good, Quins a scrum, sorry, in a really good part of the field.
I wanted to talk to you about Connie Powell tonight, Dave, because you've got probably the Red Roses starting hooker at this stage in Lark Atkin-Davies at Bristol, an outstanding athlete. Connie Powell, one of the younger athletes coming up and through the ranks. They're different, Lark and Connie. Connie's rangier. She's top of the tree when it comes to hookers in the league, with carries, meters, clean breaks as well. But as we've seen tonight, the set piece still a bit of a work on. I wonder this season, has Lark seen what Connie can do ball in hand and gone away and worked on her physicality and her carrying game, because she is trucking up more than I feel like she has done in recent years.
Yeah, you've got to tread carefully here, because Lark's one of my favourite players, OK? So
she's a lot of people's favourite players.
I think Lark is always, and she, would admit it as well, very humble in terms of, she's always working on her game. She has a fantastic game. She comes in and goes, and she picks out the 4 clips she could have done better. So I think from that perspective, she's constantly working on it. We've seen a change in pace from Lark as well this season. She does an incredible amount of work on her speed at bears, and again, when she gets to make those breaks now, we're seeing it. Connie has had a couple of really good sort of breakthrough seasons, if it makes sense to have 2. I don't know if you can have 2 breakthrough seasons. And she's just on the cusp of challenging Amy, challenging Lark for that Red Roses jersey. And look, again, it's really good position for the Red Roses to be in, isn't it? Because, we saw with New Zealand men a few years ago with Stephen Donald, 5th choice 10. If England have to go deep at hooker, they know their resources are good. Lark, Amy and Connie, and you've got some other young players coming through as well. So Lark's done a lot of work on her game. Connie's obviously doing some work around her set piece as well. And the battle for hooker for both the Six Nations and the World Cup is going to be fascinating.
There's also clearly no sense at Bristol Bears of what front rowers can and can't do, because you've got Sarah Byrne, Hannah Bottoman. I could go on. If Lark was going to work on her ballistic abilities, ball in hand, it was going to be at your club. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's kind of hopefully one of the reasons she joined us in the first place. And I've said to Hannah Bottoman and Sarah Byrne, they still can't kick. As much as they want to, they're not allowed to kick. So that's off the table for now.
Bet Sarah Byrne can spiral bomb.
She definitely can. She definitely can.
This promising for Harlequins. There's Kildan to the right of Packer, and that looks the way that she's going to play. But first, she's going to suck in Hlakey George, make sure that Millie Hyatt's eyes are on her. But the turnover, immense. What an intervention from Rachel Lund again.
Yeah, Lucy Packer, really nice initial break, then she had to release the ball. And as soon as she didn't, she was going to be in trouble, because she was the first ball carrier. We've seen Mo do that, we've seen Lucy do that back and forth. Great positioning from Lund. And again, Hlakey then gets to clear Gloucester's lines, and Quins will have to restart all over again around the 10-metre line.
Edge of the mark. Edge of the tap, girls.
Rachel Lund, woven into the very fibres, the fabric of the circus's big top. Been here for such a long time, the former Red Rose. And as you can see there, a proper big game player. I believe it was her try that swung the momentum against you at Ashton Gates just a few weeks ago. She knows when to strike.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that, Claire. That's exactly what happened. I remember the try very well.
If I'm going to sing your players' praises, we also have to be authentic here, Dave. We have to admit it's been an inconsistent season, but let's park that for now. Hunt finds Beckett, and again, all the tricks coming out of the box tonight. Beckett with the no-look, round the back, and then the pass is delightful off the boot of George, finding Venner. Now Singh.
Forwards on the floor, we go back.
And all of that beauty and wonder, and we will come back.
Yeah, it's a great spot from Nikki O'Donnell, actually. It's really subtle knock-on, and she's got it. I'm surprised it didn't go advantage over. That's 30, 35 metres with a great crossfield kick. Probably because the knock-on happened at this phase. The timing from Neumann as well on the tackle was really, really good. But you see what the Gloucester's MO. They kicked out. They're going to drive a line out. They get a penalty. Quins, 3 minutes ago, were 5 metres out from Gloucester's try line. In one kick's time, they're going to be back inside their own 22 with Gloucester ball, if it goes out.
Was that one early error from Hlakey George, but ever since then she is growing into this fixture. Softly spoken, the youngster, but her actions absolutely deafening. Whatever Sean Lynn's got planned for the sleeping beast, as he described Welsh rugby, she is going to be the beating heart of it. Patted backwards by Aldcroft, but all too eagerly sucked in by Tarani.
Ball's lifted.
Powell's in the pocket, but Packer had lifted that and allowed herself to be ensnared by two of the finest tin openers in the league, in Jones and in Aldcroft. Ball squirts out, and it's with Lizzie Hanlon now. Quins. look to drift into formation. We'll see how they exit here. Slow ball for Packer. Shapes to kick and does so. The rain pretty much stopped by now and the breeze also dying down, but still tricky conditions. That ball is greasy. No issues for George.
Yeah, nice little change up from Quins actually, because good reactions from Lucy Packer. She was looking to go back to Connie Powell. The referee gave the comms that it was taken back, which basically means they can't kick it straight out. So actually, turn the kick contestable, put it on Rachel Lund, and hopefully get the error, which they did. It means they can move the game up the park, and just a nice little change up within a split second from Lucy Packer there. Really well done.
Let's go, girls. Stop building. Let's go.
12th scrum, Dave, 35 minutes in. How does that affect fatigue levels out there?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit more above average. We've actually had a bit of ball in playtime since. But this is where teams will start to try and get on top of each other. And you see Gloucester now fighting for their lives in the scrum. That was actually a decent scrum from them. But Quins will start to want to build a platform from the scrum. As I said that, Beth Wilcox drops the ball, and all of a sudden Gloucester are back onto the attack inside Quins' 22.
Millie Hyatt looks up, sees Lisa Neumann in front of her and just floors the accelerator. Big carry from the teenage centre. Gloucester-Hartpury's 7th visit, 2 tries so far. It's about average for their season return, but they're looking ominous. And what a strike before half-time would do if they could keep Harlequins scoreless. They've got it to sing, and it's a fabulous try-saving tackle from Claudia Pena, who does it on both sides of the ball. The last Leonas flyer, she really does.
Yeah, fantastic from Pena there. I mean, it's not the best defending from Neumann, to be honest, diving in there. It's exactly what you don't want your wingers to do, and Bethan Lewis has taken full advantage. Decent carry from Singh. Again, probably not what I'd want Emma Singh to do. I'd want her to stay in the field. So, great tackle from Pena, but 2 bits of play that probably both coaches will be slightly annoyed at.
Fingers in ears, folks, if you don't want a spoiler from the Stonecks. 28-7, Saracens are currently leading Sale Sharks. So as things stand, irrespective of the result here, we will be in North London for the first of the 2 semi-finals next weekend, both live on your screens. Sarah Bonner, the Thistle with the carry, and Lucy Packer saw the way back to her fly half, blocked by Maya Mueller. So instead she carries into heavy traffic. Yeah,
Gloucester making a real mess of this breakdown. Neve Jones, Zoe, Alex getting in there all the time, just not giving Quins anything for free. You see it all the time, keep hitting back. Obviously Neve Jones packs a punch, we all know that. And again, she's just forced that slow ball. Great kick from Kaylee to get it away, almost to the 40.
Neve Jones, a 5'2" stick of dynamite. She's just relentless in all that she does, and there's a congested short side here up which Zoe Aldcroft is looking to concertina. Harlequins defenders Hunt spots an even shorter short side, but that will be knocked on, and Quins will have a scrum which provides them with a much more favourable exit opportunity.
Yeah, as much as Mo pleads, unfortunately, that was probably just a bit of overplay in that area. There was a small opportunity for her, but I think again just doesn't quite need to do that. Oh, she's actually probably right. Looking back at it, Bonner's off her feet.
Sorry, yours. Apologies.
Yeah, referee's corrected the decision. Mo's now feeling very justified.
Apologies. That's because you're looking at me. I apologise. Yes. Your 6 is on the floor.
You used a word there to describe Neve Jones, Dave, which reminded me, I discovered a new statistic this week. Do you know that we this year have a nuisance chart in the PWR? You can actually be logged as having made a nuisance of yourself at a ruck. And the top of the nuisance charts Neve Jones.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me in any way, shape or form. If she's not making dominant hits, she's into the breakdown. She's just got unbelievable leg strength for someone, like you say, who's not the tallest hooker in the world by any stretch. And I think she, the first to admit that. But she packs a punch. She's always in there, gets involved. And even, the throw that went awry a few minutes ago, she was actually in the first breakdown. It reminds me a little bit of myself, because I didn't hit too many throws as a hooker. And straight away I had to think, right, how am I going to get this ball back for the team? So, and Neve is very much like that. And like I said, she's been an absolute godsend for Sean Lynn, with Kelsey Jones away again, is international class hooker on her own. And I think watching Neve and the way she's playing at the moment, I mean, again, Scott Beeman's got to be pretty happy her going into that Ireland squad.
Team of the championship in the last Six Nations are trying that historic win over the Black Ferns. She makes her presence known.
Yeah, she certainly does. And like this little 90 seconds now, or 1 minute 40, sorry, going into half-time is really crucial for Quins. They're going at 40. They're going at 14-0, and I think they'll be all right. And again, they've got something to build on. It turns to 21 or 19, and it's become an uphill battle.
Time's on.
Everton United on TNT Sports 1 in the Premier League, and we'll have to bring you up to date on all our other sporting offers once this line-out has played out, because Neve Jones, the arch nuisance, has found herself 5 metres from what would be a third score. Dave Ward has just said if they go in 14-0 behind Harlequins, they'll feel all right about it. Well, they might be about to feel slightly more sombre, because we are 18 long rounds into this PWR season, but there is still plenty of firepower in the Gloucester-Hartpury pack. And their pocket-sized tyro, Neve Jones, has splashed on over.
Yeah, really nice control from Gloucester there. Quins probably got a little bit high in their early engage. Gloucester then came back round the front. It was still the same maul, so didn't have to break away at all. Really nice work from Beckett, I think, as well, to just guide Neve through. And when you're behind Sarah Beckett, the job becomes pretty easy in the end.
Two from two, Emma Singh. 130 points for the season and counting. And over she glides. She is feeling it tonight, and you could hear from up in commentary the cannon-like sound of boot on ball. Wherever John Mitchell is watching on for, it's just a little reminder of the class of Emma Singh.
Yeah, she just doesn't very miss us. She just doesn't miss, That scoreboard reads 15-0. It's a very different scoreboard to 21-0. And I think, again, Quins will be looking to go into half-time, regroup, potentially get something before half-time, a nice sort of a coach killer score, I'd like to call it, if there's such a thing. But realistically, they need to dust their wounds down at half-time and then just get into the Gloucester-Hartpury half and not try to overforce things. As I say that, Abby Fleming's through an offload out the back.
Playing the 9.
Lucy Packer waits for nobody. She's got Powell in support and Pena too, out past the outstretched fingertips there of Harriet Miller-Mills. It's Beth Wilcock on litter picking duties, and now they come again, Harlequins. Clock deep into the red now, but they are yet to debagel themselves in this one. If they're here hunting for momentum against the back-to-back champions, well, they've been found wanting so far. Kildun hands that right on to Claky George, but the ball sits up nicely for Neumann, who beats a couple of defenders before eventually hauled down by an ankle, and that alone. Miller-Mills to Ema, flat pass to Bonner, fine defensive read. Beckett shooting up to slam that door shut. Juggled and spilt by Hanlon. Back for the advantage.
Yeah, Claky might get away with one here. I think, potentially, it wasn't a yellow card. Maybe the penalty decision's the right one. But Quins will really look to push. If they can get something out of this, they'll go into half-time feeling a lot better about themselves. I think, I think this is their third visit now to 22, so they've really got to try and take something away from this.
Edge of that,
The line-out's been porous, but now is as good a time as any to get it to stick. And it does, just about. Another penalty, and this field position, this is something that Harlequins can weaponise. But no, Connie Powell has decided to go it alone. Packer in and rootling, and now setting off Danielle Lochner. Pena again, just flexing that deceptive strength, the outside centre, and this looking threatening from Harlequins. They just have to keep hands on ball, and now they've got an advantage. Powell straightening, surging and scoring. Well, they have been made to wait for it, but at last, irreverently, Harlequins stick a 5-pointer on the reigning champions.
Yeah, it's a simple game when it comes down to it. Same way carries around the corner into the 22, holding on to the ball. Lucy Packer again, we've talked about her most of the game, and again, she's a threat. They have to then mark her, and all of a sudden you see Connie, who's actually initially takes the tap, and she ends up getting the score at the end. Really nice line from her, good delay on the pass, and if Lange nudges this over, all of a sudden, like we say, the 21-7 game becomes a much easier task for Quins in that second half.
Connie Powell, who bagged a brace in this one last season. That's now 3 in her last 3 outings against her former club. And it's over to Tuima to do what Singh has done so wonderfully up the other end and ensure it is the full points haul. The flags stay down, and it will be 16 points in it, as before the shed, we head to the shed. Scores from Mo Hunt, Zoe Aldcroft and Denise Jones. A late retaliation courtesy of Connie Powell, but the back-to-back champions very much in the driver's seat. They don't lose here. It is a fortress in a competition that they have had the number of for the last 2.5 seasons. Victory in Salford last weekend sewed up top spot for the 3rd straight year, and they are now looking for their 45th win in 56 outings. They'll receive this kickoff. You get the sense that they will wield it like a sabre. Confidence running high. Those 3 tries mean that the next score is the bonus .1. And that from Venner, just casually, elegantly, sumptuous. Ball kept in field. Lakey George carrying hard.
Yes.
And pragmatism, the order of the day, as Mo Hunt wellies that up to near halfway.
Yeah, fantastic kickoff first and foremost from Kaylee Powell. Put it in deep in behind, force Mo to kick out, and again, Quins have now got possession in and around Gloucester halfway, and hopefully take that momentum that they had at the end of the first half straight into the second half.
Connie Powell, who scored right at the death to open up Harlequins' account, will throw in here, and she's picked out Lochner, all 6 foot of the former pro tier, now Springbok netball and rugby caps for the tall, destructive Timber. We'll add another one to Neve Jones's nuisance tally for the season. She made that really hard work for Harlequins, who found their talisman in Kildun. Pop passes that back along the plastic surface. And they'll look to work their way upfield. A couple of phases would not do them any harm at this stage. Just a few confidence-boosting carries. Bit of cohesion. Hands on the ball. Hunt's shot on Wilcock. Hanlon back onto Tuima. There's the double pump, and now Powell at a ground she knows so well. Tuima in at first receiver. And it's her steady hand at the tiller that allows Kaylee Powell to go hunting, to be precocious in those wide channels. On this occasion, the fly half finds herself on clear-out duties. So it's Tuima again pulling the strings and threading the needle between the on-rushing Zoe Aldcroft. Here she goes again onto Pena, who gets the fend away and then can only watch As her ribs are rearranged by Mia Venner and the ball heads back to the same point of touch that we were in just a moment ago.
Yeah, and a bit of a summation of how Quins' attacking afternoon, really. Some really good lines of running, good intent, people working off their wings. You see both wingers, Neumann, Wilcox, involved in plays, but then again, that accuracy that's letting them down. You see there with Kaylee to Ellie Kildunn, because the accuracy was on the floor, Kaylee pops it up, Ellie's got no space, and the one thing Ellie Kildunn does need and want is space. Gloucester cut it down, and you see there, even then, with Pena with the right idea to offload, just not the execution.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Solid platform from which the circus can get to work. The wraparound, Hunt, George, Hunt, and now Singh bumping one, skidding the second. There's the fend, the trademark scintillating Emma Singh fend. She's not going to go all the way, is she? Pulled down, 10 metres short, but now the penalty. And Gloucester-Hartpury can spark into full-blown entertainment mode. They rarely need asking twice. George, with the advantage to work with, sends that a smidgen long, and both Neumann and Venner crash into the hoardings.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Nikki goes to the book here. It could be a yellow card. It was pretty cynical. I don't think she is. I think one missed tackle from Pena, great carries. Emma Singh has probably got one of the best fends in the league, and we're seeing examples of that. You look at the ball transfer as well, from right to left, pushing the defenders away. One missed tackle at halfway line, all of a sudden Gloucester are going to kick it into the corner and expect another Neve Jones special.
She does it both ways, Emma Singh. She's first for defenders beaten this season, 83 in total. That's 5.5 starting lineups, for those of you wondering. But equally, she's in the top 10 for gain line carries in the competition. So she'll scythe past you, but she's just as happy to flatten you.
Yeah.
Speaking of flattening, it's Gloucester-Hartpury who roll up their sleeves, and this looks ominous, this looks potent. It will prove exactly that. Blowing their visitors to smithereens beneath the lights at Kingsholm, and Neve Jones has her brace.
Yeah, bonus point drive from Gloucester. We knew it was going to come straight into the corner, and yeah, I talked about a Neve Jones special. It was a Gloucester-Hartpury special, really. The lift wasn't even that good, and they get away with it because they have got the strength. You see Zoe's left arm as well, really good technical from her, pushing through, driving Neve through, and once you're behind Zoe in that position, it's going to be really difficult for Quins to spot.
Thanks, Kitty.
Well, arguably, Singh started it. Can she finish? It's her toughest of the evening yet, and look at those flags rippling. This is a tester. Just wide. Agonisingly so.
Which means the scores remain. Gloucester-Hartpury 26, Harlequins winning 5.
When you face Gloucester-Hartpury, Dave, they're going to score. They're just that good. So it's all about, I suppose, the conversations beneath the sticks. If you're Langi Tuima in that huddle that we just saw there, what are you saying?
Oh, it's inside.
I suppose, in a weird way, the result actually doesn't matter for Quins now. They'll know the Saracens' result. They know they're going away there. What they need to do is put some passions of play together where they can take into their semi-final for next week. That's important. Whether it's defensive sets, whether it's attacking sets, really build on that momentum, that confidence, put some stuff together where they can take forward onto next week. Because, like I said, the result, unfortunately for them, doesn't matter anymore because Saracens will have that home semi.
Quins looking for momentum. Gloucester-Hartpury, as Sean Lynn told us in the week, looking for execution and enjoyment. We've seen smiles on faces, and they've executed that, a 9th straight try bonus point for this lot. They've not left a game empty-handed all season. And that really is the reason that they are sat pretty at the summit of the world's best domestic competition. They always get something. As Lucy Packer hoists a steepling kick into West Country skies, and Lund is perfectly positioned. Somehow gets it away and on to Singh, who's really hit a purple patch now, and she's got on her left shoulder Beth Ann Lewis. Hunts by space. Ellie Kildun, a moment of proper sorcery there to keep that infield somehow.
Away now, Red!
Rowan Kitt, our TMO, gave that another look in the background, but all he saw was box office rugby.
Keep moving, 7.
The fullback keeps it in play.
Use!
And Packer slices that somewhat into touch as before us. Harlequins' entire front row take off their cagoules and prepare to get to work. So, leaving us, Sylvia Tarani, Connie Powell, Lizzie Hanlon, Caris Phillips, Laura Delgado, formerly of this parish, and most importantly of all, Hannah Sims, back onto the field after a year out, recovering from an ACL injury. And the outpouring of love across the league when she was selected, when that was announced yesterday, really is a testament to an individual that you know well, Dave, all that she has overcome to be back out there.
Yeah, it's incredible to see her back out there. She's a fantastic rugby player by her own right, and obviously being out the game for such a long time with such a common injury, unfortunately, within the women's game, that I've actually followed her rehab story for social media, and the work she's put in, I'm really happy that she got, even in this short season, to get back on the pitch. And I'm looking forward to seeing her get a run out for 30 minutes. I mean, you might see a few more Quins changes now when they start putting on their eyes onto next week, and as we speak, I think Sarah Parry's getting ready. So that's got to be at the back of Ross Chisholm's mind as well. And although this game isn't completely done, if it was a do or die match, all of a sudden it's not quite in that vein, so he'll start probably looking after his team.
Beth Wilcock walking unassisted, but a smidge uncomfortably leaves the field of play. So on comes 19-year-old Sarah Parry. She's been involved in every game of the season so far. One of those precocious, unflappable young talents. Nothing phases her, by all accounts. That looked a little bit forward there, out of the hands of Kate Williams, but nothing spotted. So on trundles Sarah Beckett, and there we go.
Pass at the back of the line out. Scrum.
Rowan Kitt saw the direction of travel was not one that we allow in this particular ball game. So back we come.
Yeah, great as well to have a TMO in these fixtures. We're probably not as lucky this season to have it throughout all the PWR fixtures, but the big fixtures where it does count, it's great to have the TMO come in, make the right decision for the game, obviously. Millie Hyatt just not quite got her timing correct. And if she had, again, it would have been Sarah Beckett on the front foot and Gloucester deep into Quins 22.
Harlequins who will feed, so it feels an appropriate time to bring in the man who the stats will tell you is the league's best defence coach, Rhys Oakley. Let's get his thoughts now.
Thanks, Claire. Well, what an introduction there from our commentary team. Rhys, best defence coach. What are you making of your defence?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but the defence tonight has been really, really good. They're so dominant in the tackle, everything I asked from them. I think the big point at half-time was just trying to finish some of our sets on a positive rather than a penalty, because we were a little bit ill-disciplined. But so far in this half, it's been much better.
With the home semi-final already tied up, what was the main goal of tonight?
Oh, to win the game. I think we saw this as like our quarter-final, basically. To get to a game with playoff intensity.
To carry from Beth Ann Lewis, the open side, driving hard and testing out the new knee of Hannah West. To the short side again they go. It's clearly a tactic. They spotted a chink in quartered armour, have the reigning champions. Zoe Aldcroft bumping off Danelle Lochnowitz. Takes some doing. Now Matthews. Cute pass onto Beckett. Ball gifted to Miller Mills, but the penalty going the way of the home side. And just listen to the roar as Mo Hunt dials up the mischief. And then Matthews, the physicality in turn. Big old short side to flex there. Taken in by Hyatt. Very well read and wrapped up by Neumann. There's a player down in the backfield. It's Hannah Jones, the outside centre. Play can continue for now, but it's Gloucester-Hartpury attacking with 14 women. And Zoe Allcroft there just carrying Lochner up the field of play. Bit of a tackle off the ball there from Claudia Pena by the looks of things, but Emma Singh is cartwheeling and then somersaulting and still getting to her feet. Penalty advantage. Gloucester-Hartpury searching for what would be a 5th score and utilising Lisa Coburn, the Thistle newly introduced, to keep themselves within 5 metres of the try line. Hyatt arrives at speed. Well diffused by Parry. An absolute demon in contact, Sarah Bonner has described the teenager. While she's proving her mettle now. George, quick pass onto Lund. Door opens up wide as you like for a stroll across the paint. And Mia Venner has 8 tries in her last 7 appearances.
Yeah, wow, just again, really nice finish from Mia, but the key for me was Rachel Lund. Just the way she takes that final ball at the end, moves the ball on, and actually Gloucester have been doing this really well. You saw Beckett do it, and then obviously Zoe Allcroft, and just the timing here. Have a look from Lund, great interplay, nice line from Mia, and again, like you say, she's a try-scoring machine at the moment.
A try-scoring machine and such an invaluable squad member because she covers scrum half. That's where she started her rugby. She's got back 3 bingo for the season. And a truly versatile flyer. Someone, no doubt, the Red Roses, who had her in camp in January, are keeping a close eye on. Well, she was kicking like a dream in the first half. That's 2 gone begging for Emma Singh, but 31-5, a healthy lead for the champions. Less healthy is Lucy Packer, who's left the field. We'll get an update on that as soon as we can. But it does mean that Freya Orkin is with us now, and also replacing Hannah Jones is Pip Hendy, who has 23.
Scrum advantage. Advantage coming.
Yeah, it's funny with the restart because actually Kaylee probably didn't kick it anywhere near where she wanted it to. It becomes one of those dead duck kicks that is actually incredibly hard to catch, and I don't envy Beth and Lewis in that situation. And this is a difficult time of the match now for Quins. They've made a few changes. They're obviously the results going to get away from them. They have to take that confidence into Saracens. Where are they going to find that confidence? It's got to come and go back to what Ross Chisholm's talking about in terms of their DNA. Get some tempo into the game. Go and score some tries. The forwards have got to up their work rate in terms of their carry. They've got to get a bit more width on the ball. And all of a sudden, they've got to start putting some phases together. Otherwise, Saracens will be watching this next weekend and licking their lips.
Orkin, the marine biologist, straight in at the deep end, feeding that scrum. And there she is on the wraparound. And now Sarah Parry with the strike move of dreams. She's only been on the field about 60 seconds. She's putting a sledgehammer of a tackle up one end and then scythed past, carving the reigning champions to ribbons en route to a 5-pointer.
Well, that'll do it. That'll give you the confidence for next week. I mean, great. You look at Lange with a no-look. Really nice. Neumann on the inside. Lange with a really nice no-look. And Sarah Parry, who's, you know, I think I first watched her when she was 17 for Worcester. She's been on the radar now for a couple of years. She's exceptional young player. And again, just there, takes the pace of the line. And she's actually gone past Venner there, which is no mean feat in itself. So, really nice finish.
Flags up, and Harlequins might just have a little foothold in this one. How about the line cut by Parry? Still just 19 years old. And a massive cheer has just gone up around Kingsholm because we're looking at one teenager on screen now, but it is a debut for another. Erin Bradley on as a loose head on this occasion. She only transitioned into playing as a prop 4 months ago. She was in England under-18 camps as a centre 2.5 years ago. But they are properly excited by the number 17.
Yeah, and what a game's come on. Nothing to lose really. She's straight away involved in a tackle. Not a player I know a huge amount about, unfortunately, and I like to sort of pride myself on the fact I know most players, but I'm pretty sure I watched her play centre last year at the Arms Park. The fact she's gone to prop and her first scrum is against Bimber. Let's see how she gets on.
Apologies, Quins for.
So we've got the athlete who was the starting tight head as Gloucester-Hartpury won their first title back in 2023 up against the teenager on debut 4 months into her career as a prop. And while we're relishing the youngsters out on pitch, Tyler Shirley is on into the engine room of this Harlequins pack. Wherever you look.
Fine.
Red Rose under-20s and under-18s playing at the game's very pinnacle. On that occasion, Harlequins very much having the upper hand at the scrum, motoring Gloucester-Hartpury backwards, but they'll get themselves some front foot ball again quickly if George can get it onto Lund, which she does. And look at the danger just arcing around the wing there. Venner up against Kildun.
Tackle! Step.
Tackle made, and the cut-out pass finds Williams. Then it's on for a carry from Bogue. Ismail Williams back onto Hyatt, who fizzes that out, and Neve Jones is popped up on the wing.
The battle of 2 pocket rockets there.
Powell on Jones. Lewis's carry. George's floated pass. Swiftly onwards, crisp service from Hunt, finding Hyatt. Hunt again, George through the fingertips of Lund. Ellie Kildun quick to gather, finding Pena. This would be an almighty foot race. But the Spaniard hauled into touch. The first key defensive intervention for Pip Hendy.
Yeah, really well done from Pip Hendy there, and I think that's just probably a bit of an explanation of the game, the fact that we've only mentioned Ellie Kildun's name in the second half, with 18 minutes gone. She's World Player of the Year, she's a fantastic rugby player, she's not getting the ball in the spaces she wants. The only previous time I think we mentioned her was when she was getting the ball about 1 metre away from the Gloucester opposition, so really well done from Pip Hendy, but again, can Harlequins build from this?
Alex Matthews is off. Her day's work is done. She can rest up whilst Georgia Brock, not a bad replacement to bring on in her place, enters the fray and finds herself in the midst of all of those bodies. Harlequins will be heading to the Stowe next week, where Saracens are currently leading Sale Shot 49 points to 14. Up and down the league, everything kicking off at the same time for this final evening of action, and oohs ring out around Kingsholm because Sarah Beckett has just put in the carry of nightmares, only for Georgia Brock to fail to gather, and Powell's clearance to be gathered gratefully by Lund. Kaylee Powell, with absolutely no regard for her own safety, tackle after tackle from the standoff. Brock finds Hyatt. Deftness of touch there at full stretch to keep that ball red. Brock again. Picked up, slammed down by Orkin. George across the face, onto Singh. Orkin across in defence. Tuima there. Almost burgled that one, but still the reigning champions play on. Clayton George is in some considerable discomfort before our commentary position, but through will surge Sarah Beckett. A cherry on a cherry and white cake, and it has been a cakewalk.
Yeah, it is becoming that way, certainly. There's a really nice pass there on the edge to put Emma Singh through. If she'd have kept her feet, she could have gone through again. But Beckett starts the play, and then Beckett finishes the play. And
well, I was about to say to you, Dave, at what point do you bring off Lakey George to keep her safe and bring on Ellie Green? And as I say that, Ellie Green jogs out onto the turf at Kingsholm, up against the side she knows all too well. Nearly 100 appearances in the colours of Harlequins. As Emma Singh adds another 2 to her tally. But yes, you want to keep Lakey George safe. Well, I mean, you personally don't, of course, but Sean Lynn wants to keep Lakey George very safe for your visit in a week's time.
yeah, absolutely, and I think probably that just triggered his mind there, just seeing her stay down for maybe a few seconds longer than you would have liked to. So bring her off. Zoe obviously comes off as well, and I think in the same movement. So, and the fact that the players they're bringing on and the youngsters giving a run out last league game of the season is great for those guys, but also gives the others an opportunity as well.
Mia Venner has mischief on her mind, but eventually snared by West. It just reflects on the talent on that groaning Gloucester-Hartpury bench. You've got a World Player of the Year nominee, a World Player of the Year winner, and Maud Muir, a future World Player of the Year. It's quite extraordinary. Pena's shot on Emma Singh. And calling for it is Kate Williams. Well read then by Mueller and by Delgado.
Use.
Mo Hunt still with us. Still want that general out on the field of battle, and Lund makes yet another one of those crunching tackles out wide.
Yeah, and there's one player that definitely won't give up for Quins, that's Connie Powell. She's still having an impact on this game. She still wants to get involved, both attack and defence.
Beckett from scoring tries to hurtling into Ellie Kildunn, who has it again. There's a sense of urgency about Kildunn's actions now. And no sooner do we mention these stalwarts of Sean Lynn's side, but he seems to want to take them off the field because Bianca Blackburn is getting ready to come on beneath us as one of the replacements. Pip Hendy finds herself shuttled backwards, and there's a scrum advantage for the side in control of this one. Steph Else pulled down by nothing more than a fistful of jersey.
Go back, White!
Class from Hunt, if that is to be her final involvement of this evening, which it might not be, because Ellie Kildunn has sent that one soaring. Perhaps not quite where she'd anticipated that one ending up. It's fed Venner.
Yeah, that almost screams a little bit of desperation, unfortunately, for Ellie there, because you don't want to kick across your own post. Certainly you don't want to kick it to one of their most dangerous players. So, yeah, unfortunately, probably not the kick she wanted, but Quins have got the ball back. And again, when Quins get the ball and they go through the phases, they look okay. They look like they're going forward. They just can't, unfortunately, string enough phases together to put Gloucester under any real threat.
Go back first, White, go back first. Thank you.
Distance, territory, the order of the day, but Tuima has handed it to one of the most devastating counter-attackers in the league. Singh up to halfway. Green's in at first receiver on this occasion, floats it back and onto Lund on an arcing run. Beckett showing that she can carry like a train, but also just gently find her target. The same couldn't be said up the other end, so Mueller with it.
Steph. No. Thank you, she's on the wrong side.
Change is wrong. Not all that much at stake in the game subsequently, just disintegrating a little bit, coming apart at the seams. 15 minutes left to play in this one.
I can't reward you, Seven. She's on the wrong side.
Yeah, it's really difficult now for Quins. Like, I know I've said it a couple of times, but tapping and going from your own 30 into a brick wall of red, you know, it's going to be really tough. And again, they're forcing offloads, forcing inside balls. Again, an inside ball, and Mia Venner's away.
Mia Venner's away. She's got Neumann for company, and that a fine tackle from the Quins left winger. It was only going to end one way, though. With Quins on the scramble and Gloucester-Hartpury in this sort of mood. Zoe Aldcroft said earlier on in the campaign that once they're on it, they feel unstoppable, as though no one can beat them, and they're very much in that sort of cruise control right about now. Yeah,
I wouldn't fancy being the next team to take them on, that's for sure, because they're almost like a snake. The harder you wriggle, the harder you squeeze, the tighter their grip gets. And you saw it there with Quins. They want to tap and go 30 out, middle of the pitch, 1 pass, 2 passes, another forced offload, ball down, Venner's through, and then just the recycling the ball. Right things, right decision. Neve Jones doesn't go herself. Really good sort of teammanship from her, I suppose, in terms of pushing the ball to Pip out on the wing, and then again a nice finish from Gloucester, just really taking advantage of Quins' errors essentially.
The StoneX with a home semi-final secured. Zoe Harrison is banging them over, but so too Emma Singh. 43 plays 12. And speaking of banging, Harlequins need to slam the reset button at this point, so they've got 13 minutes left to bring something into their battle with the Wolfpack on Saturday. Hannah Jones sporting a serious shiner there on the Gloucester-Hartpury bench. Mo Hunt now amongst those as bystanders for the remaining 12 minutes or so of this one.
Just where you are.
So the question from a Harlequins perspective, Dave, and speaking to someone who knows exactly how to go about and do this, is how do you conquer the StoneX in a semi-final? Not tactically, but emotionally, mentally, what is key?
Yeah, I think the emotion also would be great for Harlequins. I think they'll be fine. They played away brilliantly all season, as we know. They've won, I think, 7 out of 7 away from home, apart from tonight, obviously. That will be fine. It's the physical battle that you're going to get with Saracens. It's going to be the relentless breakdown that they bring. May Campbell, Poppy Cleal, Marley Packer, just to name a few. If they do what they did do tonight, and let Gloucester get on top and let Saracens get on top in that breakdown, it's going to be a long afternoon for Harlequins. If they can bring it physically, the likes of Jay Conker will add to that, obviously, then they've got a much better chance. And we see the likes of the attacking runners like Pena, like Kelly Kildun, get more space, get more time, and hopefully play some of the Quins rugby that we've been seeing all season.
Have we come to realise in the last few weeks of the season just how essential to their early season success, the 10 straight victories, Nicole Wythe and Alex Callender were?
Oh, absolutely. I think Nicole Wythe, and unfortunately for her injury at Loughborough, I think she would have been on for a break through the season. I think Alex Callender is probably a world-class, one of the best sevens in the world. And I don't say that sort of, you know, easily, because there's some fantastic back rowers. We've got a couple at Bristol, but I think her energy, her work rate, the way she inspires her teammates around her, Quins have certainly missed her. Wales will probably miss her for the first couple of games of the Six Nations if she's not available. And you've seen it again tonight. Just that inability to slow Gloucester's ball has really cost them dear.
There might come a point towards the end of the Six Nations where Sean Lynn can have Alicia Joyce Butchers, Kate Williams, Beth Ann Lewis and Alex Callender available to him in the back row. And I think every other nation in that competition should be dead scared of that.
Well, and that's the sleeping beast he's talking about. That's the Welsh team. That's what's exciting in Welsh rugby at the moment. And there's some world-class players playing, you know, in the PWR. They probably haven't been playing world-class for Wales, and that's the challenge for Sean Lynn over the next 2-3 weeks. Hopefully it's only in the next week, because he won't have a PWR to worry about.
Ellie Kildun, whose play has verged on the desperate over the last few minutes, but this time using that seemingly telepathic connection she's developing with Claudia Pena.
21 is offside in front of the kick. Where's the mark?
hurls it to the Spanish centre.
Thank you.
And back
Goes
we
to
will
21.
come
Offside.
to that penalty given away by Bianca Blackburn, who's on in the place of Mo Hunt. Beg your pardon, going in the other direction, Freya Orkin conceding that penalty.
Back to the mid. Quins.
Ellie
Edge of
Green
the line.
finds touch.
Okay, Quins are on the edge of the line. Step out, girls.
What an essential piece of the cherry and white jigsaw puzzle she was early on this season, whilst Claykie George was recovering from a knee injury. Same could be said of that woman there, Steph Else, in the absence of Zoe Allcroft away at WXV. She captained with aplomb.
Move white.
And here she is calling for it now. Green onto Lewis. Whether by accident or design, that's Fan Singh. Scrambling onwards, looking to bring up 50 here at Gloucester-Hartpury. We wondered how tight this might be. The answer is not very. They have looked imperious. It's a warning shot, this, across the bows of Premiership women's rugby. They will take some dethroning.
Okay, turnover's good. Knock on was here first. White scrum.
I suppose from a Quins perspective now, I know we've spoken about it, but they want to protect themselves, obviously a little bit, but they want to play, and these little bits of phase space are what they can take, the snippets they can take away to the StoneX. They're not going to get the result, we already know that, but as a player out there, and I've been on this loads of times as a player in terms of, you know, the results got away from you. Okay, let's build something for next week. Let's build a couple of phases, let's build a try. That Sarah Parry try. Okay, can we then go and get something else? Can we go and steal a line out, get a dominant scrum, whatever it is, to just take that bit of confidence, so when you get on the bus, you can have a look at the video, you can go through it quite comprehensively, but you've also got something to grab onto for next week.
Neumann and Kildon with plenty of space to work with. The tackle's well made by Green. Orkin excavates it and finds Shirley. Cromack now. On to Delgado. So beloved in these parts, the Las Leonas captain. Tuima now delaying that, finding Neumann at one. Wonder for a moment if there might have been a little opportunity there, but it's well read by Else. This now Parry. Chicken wing out the back and onto her under-20s teammate to be, Cromack. Orkin again, Tuima now in at first receiver. And that, you suspect, where she will spend the rest of this fixture. Connie Powell watching on. And watching on as that is knocked on.
Yeah, just as you think Quins are just creating that 2-on-1 on the edge, unfortunately Neumann puts it down. And look, you have to also give credit to Gloucester-Hartpury. They've taken all the space away from Quins. Every single time Quins have got the ball in space, Ellie Kildon, Lisa Neumann, there's 1-2 Gloucester-Hartpury players squeezing the life out of them. They've done it for the whole of the second half, and they've done it enough to then take the game completely away from Quins. You just saw it there as well. The 2-on-1 was created, and they didn't execute.
Time's off.
Well, your weekend with us on TNT gets underway tomorrow morning with build-up to a big one at Goodison Park. Everton have found a bit of form in 2025. Kick-off against United at 12:30. And then we've an incredible evening coming your way out in Riyadh as one of the biggest boxing cards ever assembled takes centre stage, including the highly anticipated rematch between light heavyweight stars Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol. Join us from 4 p.m. on TNT Sports box office. Whether you're a Superbike super fan or entirely new to the sport, TNT is the new home of that. But let's talk about rugby, shall we? Neither Bath nor Quins have won the Premiership Rugby Cup, but they've both made it through to the quarters this season. Emma Dodds, Emily Scarrett and Austin Healy will be at the Rec for us next Friday. And then your weekend is all about the PWR, as we've a double helping of derby knockout action of the London variety on Saturday and the West Country kind on Sunday. As you sit down for your roasts, we will have our 2025 finalists. Dave Ward alongside me has just gone deathly pale. It is crunch time.
Fine.
He loves it, really. Venner's down the short side, but she will be watching this as Green pins Neumann back in the 22 and off she heads. Playing the rugby of her career right now, Lisa Neumann, but very few can keep Georgia Brock's hands out of the cookie jar.
No.
Yeah, it's a sight I've seen a few times this season, certainly, and I'm sure that the rest of the other coaches will be sick of it in the PWR. She's incredible when she gets on the ball, and unfortunately Neumann kind of runs away a little bit from her support, but Brock still has to do the rest. Clear release, on her feet, pulling for the ball, no choice for Nikki O'Donnell.
Okay, lines you.
A breakthrough season which culminated in a starting berth down at Sandy Park as they defended their title. Saw her earn her debut for the Red Roses. And she'll be straight in on line-out duties here as cries of Gloucester ring out around the place where they will be revamping the signage in the week. King's Home will become Queen's Home. And the stakes skyrocket and the rugby becomes knockout. And what a marker they have put down here tonight. Hyatt onto Green, who straightens and is hurled down disdainfully by Parry. Harlequins have it back. An acting scrum half for a moment there is Sims. Delgado with the carry. Cromack just delaying that one before finding Miller, Mills and Lochner. Just ushered gently out and on into touch.
Yeah, again, good D from Gloucester. It is difficult for Quins because they have to play. They have to hold on to the ball, and Gloucester know that, so they can stand 14, 13 up in the line, and they don't really have to do too much apart from stand up some bodies in front and make some good collisions. Really nice from Parry there. Dominant collision gives the opportunity for the turnover, but unfortunately, again, Quins have to play out their own 22, and they're kind of playing into Gloucester's hands.
There was a lift, and it's not straight. Option. Sarah, option. Scrum. Okay, scrum's called. She's the edge of that, girls.
Gloucester-Hartpury on the cusp of a 6th straight victory over Harlequins.
Let's go, girls.
This will be their 3rd straight season double over a side who previously held such a hoodoo over them. Quins won 8 in a row before Sean Lynn really started to get into a groove here in the hallways of Hartpury. And this side rocketed up the standings. In it pops from Orkin. And that one, a right mess. It's popped up for Lewis. Blackburn is there, and Venner, who has looked so hungry for work all of this second half. She manages a jinking run before straightening and barrelling onwards as Williams. Green with options all the way out wide. Bouncing ball onto Singh. She's got Kildun to beat. Heads back towards the fullback. That feels statement. That felt personal. And look at Emma Singh go. 2 metres out. Else carrying and stretching and scoring.
Yeah, that did feel a bit personal. A couple of pats on the back. One for the Bradley scrapbook as well, certainly with that dominant turnover scrum for her. So congratulations to her on debut. And then really good battle out wide from Singh and Kildun, and Steph House, another fantastic young player coming through. Leg drive to the line, really good. Unlucky in the missed tackle from Anna Sims, but House does the rest and gets over the line.
Gloucester-Hartpury simply reminding Quins, who is top of the log, where the trophy currently resides, where the balance of power is firmly placed right about now.
Is that live?
What an evening it has been for Emma Singh, for this entire club, which does mean, Dave, that choosing your Clinique Game Face Player of the Match has probably been pretty hard going. You're allowed to give us some runners and riders if you like before you select one.
Yeah, look, I think just quickly on the Harlequins perspective, I think Connie Powell, certainly for the first 60 minutes, both attack and defence was great. Look, we've got to go to one of the Gloucester players. Mo obviously had a big influence on the game. Neve Jones, from a hooker's perspective, very close to my heart. But the player that had the biggest influence for me has been Sarah Beckett. Not just her carrying, her tips, her work at the set piece as well. She's an outstanding rugby player. She's going into a good vein of form. They've just kicked the ball off to win the game, and she is our Clinique Game Face Player of the Match.
Sarah Beckett, who had her 26th birthday last week and has now got a bag of Clinique goodies as a gift from us. Well, they're simply underlining their credentials at this stage. 9 straight wins, another bonus point victory. Gloucester-Hartpury throwing down another gauntlet for good measure and handing the Londoners a 3rd loss in 4 games. Sean Lynn, in his final few weeks at this club, has got them peaking for perfection. And it's going to take something extraordinary from Bears if they are to deny them the 3-peat or indeed a spot in another final. The final time this season before the rugby turns knockout, it is a victory for Gloucester-Hartpury, 52 points to 12.